Bear down, Chicago Bears. Here we are one more time. Shane Waldron has now been hired by the Chicago Bears. Is our next step. Please button that helps push me up in the algorithm, helps me get more eyes watching the product. But the important thing here is Shane Waldron. What does this mean for Justin Fields? And we got a few articles. I want to break these kind of things out. Now, guys, please remember, if you like this content, to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button on your way in. So we're going to see exactly what this looks like. And what about Saquon Barkley? Because you now have this instance where there's a lot of different moving parts to what's going on with Justin Fields, with the Chicago Bears, with even with Saquon Barkley, looks like he's being moved out of New York. Now, if you can do this, and if you can make something like this happen, then what do you do if you are Ryan Poles? Now, I'm going to tell you as we go through this today that there are many different, again, moving parts to this. But the most important thing is a lot of people will tell you that they know what's going on. They have no idea. They have as much an idea of what is happening as I do. And that is the truth. Okay. What I'm telling you has no more or less validity than anything that anybody else is telling you, even at this point, Ryan Poles, because I don't think that he knows. I know that he probably might like certain things. I know that he could be looking at certain facets, but I want to say this, and I think that this is important that we probably get off the chest first and foremost. It is my belief that Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles are working for their jobs right now. If I were to take that into consideration, and I know what I have with Justin Fields, I know my limitations with Justin Fields, I know my upside with Justin Fields, which I, by the way, I do think is fairly decent. There's this thing uh, where if I bring in Caleb Williams, then I'm probably starting the season with Tyson Bagent. Maybe I have Justin Fields and then I end up benching him midway through. That's probably not going to end very well. I have a very complex sort of situation. And I would feel like the situation being what it is, if I'm Ryan Poles, I would need to win now. I would need to use the tools that I have at my disposal to give myself the best chance to win, not the best chance to build for the longer term. Because all I'm going to do in this instance is give somebody else some tools to inherit so that maybe they have a good run. So I think that this is I think that this is probably a bigger problem for Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. And you think Lord Crimson says, but this is only 2 years into a rebuild. I'm not sure Poles' job is in danger. Well, neither did Luke Getzey, and Luke Getzey doesn't work here anymore. Neither did Alan Williams, and Alan Williams doesn't work here anymore. The entire coaching staff is being revamped. Bringing Matt Eberflus back, this was a final attempt. And also, when this happened in the rebuilding process, Kevin Warren is a big component to this. Kevin Warren does not have his people in. He was brought in after Ryan Poles, after Matt Eberflus. He's allowing this to play out however they want it to play out. He's giving them, quote unquote, the rope to hang themselves or to swing across the river with. So I don't think that this is the same thing. I think that if they don't do a job and they don't get it right, then why should they stay? So, and by the way, Lord Crimson is Poles. Poles isn't a coach though, and Getzey was abysmal, and that's fair enough. But so is the record for each and every one of these play. Now let me point this out, Lord Crimson. Ryan Poles has some say in hiring. So Matt Eberflus brought in Luke Getzey. That's on Ryan Poles and Matt Eberflus. He also brought in Alan Williams. That's on Matt Eberflus and Ryan Poles. These are the people doing the hiring. And for you to cut this off at a certain level and say, well, he sucked as a coach. Yeah, Matt Eberflus hired him and let him stay an entire season. And Ryan Poles backed him up on that. Now, again, if you're Kevin Warren, you there's a principle that you have here with the Chicago Bears and that you don't make moves in midseason, fine. But at the end of this season, he said, Ryan, what do you want to do? This is yours to lose. This is yours to win. What do you want to do? He said, I'm going to keep Matt Eberflus and I'm going to go on with it. Well, that's on you. And in fact, by the way, it should be noted that Kevin Warren and Ryan Poles have a good working relationship, as we are told so far. But that does not mean that Kevin Warren is not going to make a change and that he's not going to bring in all of the people that he wants as opposed to the people that he inherited. See, this inherited thing goes a long way. So I think that those being the cases, that we're probably looking at maybe, just maybe, Justin Fields continuing to hang out for a little while. So let's go into a few of the articles here. And we're going to start off with news for the day because there's really a lot to kind of break down here. What Bears hiring Shane Waldron means for Justin Fields and the quarterback decision. The Bears hired Shane Waldron. Now, the question is, how does this affect Justin Fields? Now, you can hear people tell you, and I want to say on X, I'm not even sure what to call it anymore. I call it X, but or generally I call it Twitter still, but X, whatever. But what you're getting a lot of people saying is, well, this is the opportunity for Shane Waldron to move on to Caleb Williams because he's part of the QB collective. Well, guess who's on the cover of QB collective? Justin Fields. That doesn't tell you anything by this hire. The Bears are finalizing a contract with Seattle offensive coordinator Shane Waldron as their next OC. During his year-end press conference, Poles applauded Justin Fields' growth while noting the rare opportunity the Bears have in owning the number one pick in the 2024 draft. We broke this down before. Eberflus and Poles said that the part of the interview process would be to ask each candidate how they design an offense around quarterbacks with different skill sets. And why is that important? Because they want to know, how would you design this with Caleb Williams? Basically, how would you design this with Justin Fields? How would you design this with Drake May? How would you design this with Jaden Daniels? Because I think we need to go deeper into this draft to really come up with the pieces that might be in play here. And those pieces may not all be Caleb Williams, even though today that's what we're saying. So Waldron is now going to be tasked with either furthering Fields' development or getting Caleb Williams' NFL career off on the right foot. And guys, there is no way that a 7-10 or an 8-9 or even a 9-8 team gets to continue. They have got to win, and they've got to win now, and they've got to win big because, like you said, this is year 2. Well, the next year is going to be year 3, and if you don't have tremendous amounts of progress, then you're just giving your talent to somebody else. So we should at least consider there is pressure on this staff to perform and to win now, to satisfy this team's demands and to satisfy what the fans want to see coming. Now, here's the best part of this, and I think that this is fantastic for Justin Fields as well as Caleb Williams if there is a question for this. By the way, I do want to take a moment before we get further and thank each and every one of you. We now reached over 1,000 subscribers. We've got thousands upon thousands of watch hours so far. You guys have been tremendous in your support of this channel, so I appreciate you so much. It's now monetized, so there will be ads that run as a normal YouTube channel might have. So thank you so much. If you want to sign up for a membership, I'm going to do some members only content. It's going to be basically, we're going to be going over the history of the Chicago Bears. And if you're interested in it, if you like it, then we're going to start putting that out as the days and weeks commence. So if you want to sign up, become a member of the channel, then you can do that. Of course, if you want to be part of the chat, there are super chats available to you to help the process along here. So back to the story. Shane Waldron quadrupled the number of play action passes called in game 2 versus the Lions. And guys, I want to point out something. We did not see any of this adaptation coming from Luke Getsy. And I don't mean to pick on Luke Getsy, but who else are you going to pick on in this situation? Shane Waldron made adjustments. He made changes because he did everything that needed to be done to give a quarterback and a team and an offense a chance to succeed. And I do want to point out that the Bears' offensive ranking was not far behind the Seattle Seahawks offensive ranking overall. So when I say this, let's all remember that Shane Waldron is good. He's a dynamic change to the team, but he's not a slam dunk in my eyes. He's a tremendous upgrade. I do want to stress that. I do think that he is so much better than Luke Getsy, but he is just a piece of this puzzle. Now we got to go out there and we got to get Chris Harris, or we got to get a good defensive coordinator, and then we've got a team, starting to develop. Then we need a quarterback coach. Maybe we can get Chase Daniels. Something like that. Maybe, just maybe. And by the way, for those of you, I know this is a little bit odd, and it's a shameless self promotion by me, but I just want to show you. I did come up with a design. I'm gonna be wearing hoodies and stuff like that. By the way, I live in Southside, so that's going to be my new design right there. Bear down with Bleeves. So in the event that you see me out on the streets, I'll be wearing that hoodie and that hat going forward. So a couple days from now. And if you want, there is a spread shop. I don't have it up here, but in the next couple days, there'll be some designs and stuff like that if you guys have any interest whatsoever in supporting. So yeah. So Max Fire Fantasy Report says, why on earth would we want the guy who rejuvenated Geno Smith? I mean, yeah, Geno is a nice story, but he isn't breaking any records or competing in any playoff games. And you know what? Here's what I think. I think that what they did is they went out and they got a guy who's adaptable, who's built on a run game. And the important thing here is, again, I don't think this is a slam dunk hire. I think it's an improvement in the hiring process. And part of that is this right here. He adapts, he does play action. He is a very big fan. And by the way, we are running the football. You can bet your bottom dollar that the hiring of Shane Waldron means that we will be running the football, because the Seattle Seahawks, if nothing else, were a smash mouth run first football team. And that's exactly what we're looking for out of the Chicago Bears. We need to protect the pocket. We need to be able to pass, but we also need to have creativity in our plays. And by the way, there is going to be some creativity in the plays, because I'm going to move on here. Seattle Seahawks, new Bears OC Shane Waldron, play action and boot passing attack. That is exactly tailored both to Justin Fields and Caleb Williams. I want to say that, and I want to be very specific. I think that he's here for either one of them. I don't think that they've made a decision so far. I don't want, I don't want to tip the cap one way or another. Everything I would give you, of course, would be my opinion. But I don't think that this told us anything. Again, going back, Shane Waldron was hired, and he's part of the QB collective, and Caleb Williams is part of the QB collective. And a lot of people were out, see, that's what that means. That means that he's doing that. Well, that's just stupid, because the cover boy for the quarterback collective is Justin Fields. He's on their website right now as the cover boy. So anybody who said, hey, well, Caleb Williams is there, it doesn't matter. This is irrelevant. They're making a story where no story exists. So it's wild that's happening. But to keep going on here, but play action and boot passing attack, that is exactly what Justin Fields needs or has needed in order to be successful and a strong running game. But we haven't seen that. This actually suits both of these guys very well. So again, and I'm going to stress this many times before we're done here, Chicago Bears, I am a Chicago Bears fan first. I am a Justin Fields fan second. I don't care who the quarterback is. I just want us to be successful. And it is my opinion that we will be more successful next year with Justin Fields than we would with Caleb Williams. Now, if you ask me 2 or 3 years, which one would be more successful, I'm still going to say Justin Fields, because I'm locked on Justin Fields as my choice, but I'm not sold that Justin Fields is better than Caleb Williams. I just think that he is, based upon what I see on the field. And by the way, I say that seeing all of the mistakes, because I believe that Justin Fields was miscoached, and I think that he can fix a lot of the mistakes. A lot of the mistakes that Justin Fields made, by the way, fumbles because he didn't hold the ball properly, that can be fixed. That can be worked on. That can be remedied. The interceptions, he's gotten better at interceptions every single year, reduced the number of interceptions, and he's increased his completion percentage. Is it acceptable? I don't think in the current NFL, if this were the NFL of 20 years ago, he'd be fine. But this is not the NFL of 20 years ago. You need to be closer to 66% with your completion, and he was at 61.4 to end the year. So I do understand But I also want to stress that fourth quarter rating, the QBR rating for Justin Fields at 58.4 in the fourth quarter is disastrous and horrible. And I think that it's a testament to the fact that he was miscoached, especially in the fourth quarter, where they played a bend but don't break defense, coupled with an offense that just wanted to kind of run the ball unless they got behind. And Luke Getsy just did a poor, poor, poor job overall. So I do think that long story short, we've got a tremendous upgrade at the position of offensive coordinator, but I don't think that he's the best offensive coordinator on the planet or anything. I don't think this is a slam dunk in any way, but I think that he improves this team, and suddenly this team is a much better contender because of this. Now, I do want to go through this, and guys, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you here. Watch this. This is the kind of plays that we've been looking for out of the Chicago Bears. Look at these kind of plays right here. These are the kind of plays that give you a chance for success. These are the kind of plays, these are the kind of motions, these are the kind of moves. This is the kind of running offense that we are looking for out of the Chicago Bears. You are watching live right now exactly what we've been looking for out of this team. This is what Shane Waldron brings to the table. Again, look at this sweep motion right here. Sweep motion, which, by the way, the Bears never practiced for, according to Jalen Johnson. Also, you have this wild screen pass over here. Then you have this nice left side run here with a fake out man in motion coming from behind. And then you've got a motion attack right here, and then boom, right across the middle with a play action. Guys, this is the type of play that we want to see from the Chicago Bears. This is the type of play that we did not see from the Chicago Bears. Now, one thing that I'm going to say is the part in this, and it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist, but I would like to see a little more down the middle, like smash mouth sort of play. But guess what? If that's what the Bears excel at, I got a feeling that's what Shane Waldron's going to call. He designs his plays to take advantage of the talent that he has. So this really is a good testament to those are the kind of plays that we want to see from the Chicago Bears. So that's what I think. Now, Clay Harbor points this out, and I think we need to support Clay. I love Clay Harbor, by the way, who does say that he thinks Justin Fields should still be here. But he says Shane Waldron's offense ranks 17th in points per game at 21.4 and 21st in yards per game at 322.9. The Bears were 18th and 20th in those categories. It doesn't seem like much of a jump, but Waldron is a much better fit, in my opinion. Now, it is a testament to his play calling that potentially he adapts along the way to how much better the Chicago Bears, despite that we really and by the way, we should preface this. The Chicago Bears offense was not good. It did have DJ Moore. It did have Cole Kmet. We did have Deontay Foreman, Khalil Herbert, and Roshan Johnson, which ended up being kind of a good one. Darnell Wright, Tevin Jenkins. Other than the final game, Tevin Jenkins really good. But Braxton Jones, serviceable, did okay. Lucas Patrick, obviously we have some problems there. But generally speaking, we had some talent on the team, but we were missing wide receivers making plays down the field. Robert Tonyan as a tight end, I think he comes up as a bust. Mercedes Lewis, too old to get down the field anymore, but he's a tremendous blocker. Maybe he comes back. He's not going to catch any balls, though. But the thing is, aside from Cole Kmet and DJ Moore, Darnell Mooney couldn't get open. He could get downfield, but the offensive line can't hold up. And if that's the case, then you're going to have to run the ball a little bit better, or you're going to have to scheme a little bit better. And that's, I think, where Luke Getsy missed the most. So I think that this move overall really improves the dynamic. And if we stick with Justin Fields, in so much as I think that that's going to be what happens, then that gives you an opportunity to go out and get yourself a Marvin Harrison Jr., trade down maybe, pick up Malik Neighbors. By the way, Malik Neighbors just continues to move up and up and up in the draft. We may not be able to get Malik Neighbors, but Roma Dunze is also going to be out there. So, guys, I want to say I am a fan of Marvin Harrison Jr. first, Malik Neighbors second, and then Roma Dunze third, and then Brock Bowers. Any one of those would be a significant upgrade to this offense. So, And they all bring a little bit more. For example, Malik Neighbors is the guy who can get you open when you need that short passing game. That's who he is. He's like DJ Moore. Runs great patterns, runs great routes, and as long as Justin learns to throw people open, he's going to be the linchpin for that. Same as Marvin Harrison Jr. Roma Dunze is not as good at that, but he runs a 4.3 40. He runs like a deer. He's 6'3". He can go up and he can get the passes that you throw it over his head a little bit. He can go up there and get it above other receivers. So there are benefits that each one of these guys have over each other, except for Marvin Harrison Jr. I think he's really the complete player and the generational talent. And I say that because of his father, number one, and number two, the fact that he won the Biletnikoff Award and his father. When you have two things like that, that means you're the best player, or at least you're known to be the best player at your position as wide receiver. But then his dad, and whatever the work ethic was for his dad, probably rubbed off on him and was taught to him as a child. So I think that's always a good sign. It doesn't always, nepotism doesn't always work. I mean, just because just because you have, we can look at Jarrett Payton and Walter Payton, and we can see that, nepotism doesn't always work. However, we did see some really good stuff coming out of Marvin Harrison Jr. Different from what we saw from many other sons of sons, so to speak. So I think that this is an upgrade. It's not significant, but it is much better. And I think that recognizing that is something that we as fans probably should do. Now let's move on to free agency real quick. And these are 3 free agents the Chicago Bears should sign in the offseason. Now, I went through this list. Andre James, basically what we're looking here is the obvious weakness on this team, if there's any pressing beyond wide receiver and edge rusher, is going to be Andre James. Lucas Patrick, great guy, but not a great center. Cody Whitehair, far too past his prime. Dan Feeney, look, and by the way, I love Dan Feeney. He's got heart, he's got passion, the guy works hard, but I think we need a better option. So Andre James, Connor Williams is out there too, but of course the ACL might make it prohibitive for anybody testing him to see if they want to take him. But number one, Andre James as the center. He's going to be a free agent, so we'll see what happens there. And then we've got the edge rusher. And guys, I want to say this. For those of you that don't know, I was born in Louisville, Kentucky. I am a University of Louisville, Kentucky fan. John Grenard was a linebacker at the University of Louisville before becoming an edge rusher. And guys, I love this guy. He has a motor that doesn't quit. He's started to grow up in the Houston Texans system here, and he is coming out as a free agent. So he had 12 and a half sacks this year, by the way. And then I think last year he had 8 sacks in 13 games. Like, this guy is a big time edge rusher. Would be great to have, and that's going to be if you can't get Latu, or if you can't get Jared Verse. If you can't do it in the draft, then picking up an edge rusher in free agency. John Grenard, by the way, probably not going to be cost prohibitive. He's probably going to come at a pretty decent price, but he has a motor that doesn't quit and a great option for the team. And then you have Curtis Samuel, but here is the thing right here. Curtis Samuel is a tremendous upgrade for a slot receiver, assuming we only take one wide receiver in the draft, or one of the great wide receivers that seem to be in the top 10 of the draft. We have 2 draft picks and we can get one good wide receiver in that context, then I think we're set. I really think that we're set. And if you can pick up somebody like Curtis Samuel, then this is a tremendous opportunity. And by the way, guys, I think if you look and you start to pay attention to some of the free agents and some of the holes that you're able to fill, and the fact that Ryan Poles has tons of cap money. I'll make sure you hit the like button, by the way, on the way in. That helps me out tremendously, pushes me up in the algorithm here. So And I appreciate everybody's support, by the way. So somebody like Curtis Samuel, that changes the dynamic of this team tremendously. It creates options, which I think we did lack. I mean, and look, no disrespect to Robert Tanyan, he had an okay year on the low end of expectation. But that big miss that he had where he dropped the touchdown, that really defined his season for a lot of Bears fans. I mean, it's time, I think it's time to let him go in free agency. And by the way, he is a free agent, so he's probably moving on. Mercedes Lewis, a free agent, we're probably going to sign him to a 1 or 2 year as a blocker contract. But bringing in some of these guys, and Ryan Poles again says he's got the money this year. So let's go, baby. Let's do something with this team. Let's make something magical start to happen. So Curtis Samuels as another one of these options. Now, I got another list here. Bears could use T. Higgins and other starters. So everybody's realizing, of course, that what we really need the most is going to be receivers. So Waldron comes to Chicago, and this is specific to Shane Waldron. Okay, the Bears have their new offensive mastermind in Shane Waldron. In a matter of a few months, they'll decide which quarterback. However, Waldron comes to Chicago after he was coaching an offense in Seattle with wide receivers DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and Jackson Smith Najigba. I don't even know if I'm saying that name right. They have 7 players in all who had 22 targets or more, with Lockett getting 122, Metcalf 119, and Smith 93. The Bears had 6 players targeted at least 31 times, but they only had one with more than 90 targets. So what you're going to see is a more robust passing game from Shane Waldron. We should stress that, but you're also going to see that run game being applied, and I think hopefully a little bit better than what we saw this past year. So translated for what we just said here is they need weapons for the new play caller because the goal is to get chunk plays and big gainers. When you've got 122, 119, and 93 targets, that means that you've got 3 guys that you've got to get the ball to. And if one of them is Cole Kmet, fair enough. That's a good outlet. If one of them is DJ Moore, fair enough. But you need that third guy. You need that person who can get open. And again, if we move on from Tyler Scott, or if Tyler Scott becomes the bench guy, or if he becomes the relief guy, and you can bring in a receiver through the draft, and then you can pick up Curtis Samuel as a slot receiver, then you've got a 4-headed monster, the likes of which the Bears have probably never really, really seen. And by the way, it should be noted that even if that happens, we're still looking at somebody like Saquon Barkley coming in here potentially, which we're going to get into in just a second. Maybe Saquon Barkley shows up and changes the dynamic of this rushing juggernaut. I hope that we have. Certainly would be nice to see. But we're looking for those guys to come up. And this is ranking the top 150 players. We've got Chris Jones, Kirk Cousins. I'll leave this to you guys. Josh Allen. Love to see an edge rusher like Josh Allen. T. Higgins, Brian Burns, Justin Matabuke, Christian Wilkins, Antonio Wingfield. A lot of guys out here. And by the way, when I see this, I get infuriated. I get absolutely infuriated because Jalen Johnson is a target for the Raiders right now. Just so you guys know, Jalen Johnson is being targeted by the Raiders. They are big time in on Jalen Johnson this year. I keep saying Justin Johnson, and I just don't know why. But let's move on to the draft for right now. So the mock of a draft, and I don't know what just happened here. I'm missing a few pieces here. Anyway, Mel Kiper's draft just came out, and he has Caleb Williams being taken at number 1, by the way. So in this mock draft, they've got Caleb Williams obviously going number 1 again. Drake May number 2, Jaden Daniels number 3, Marvin Harrison number 4. That seems to be a lock for the way that it goes. And then it gets intriguing here with the Chargers taking Brock Bowers, the Giants taking Malik Neighbors, the Titans taking Joe Alt. All these kind of make sense. And then you have Atlanta taking Latu, and then you have the Chicago Bears taking Roma Dunze. So seems like whatever we're looking to happen is actually on the verge of happening, or we have the layout right here of how these things could or should happen. So I do think that we're in a pretty good position. The question at this point is, what do we do with that number one pick? Do we trade it down? Do we take Caleb Williams? It's a decision that they're going to have to make. And anybody who says that they know is just they're full of it right now. And here we have the four teams that are most likely to trade for Justin Fields. The Las Vegas Raiders. And the Raiders, by the way, I want to say this, the Raiders have been going off on Twitter. They are very, very excited about the opportunity or the possibility that they could land somebody of the caliber of Justin Fields. So there could be a sign and trade deal of some sort being worked on or that will be worked on. I don't think any of this is going to happen, by the way, until such time as Ryan Poles, for due diligence purposes, kicks the tires on Caleb Williams, and we decide whether or not Caleb Williams is that guy. And I don't know that he is or is not. I just know that that's probably what we're looking at this point. And then can the Chicago Bears trade Justin Fields to the New England Patriots? Now, the Patriots are in an interesting spot because they have the number 3 overall pick. So they could pick up Jaden Daniels, and they have to make a decision on whether or not they think that Justin Fields would be an upgrade to the position. It certainly would with Mac Jones. But the question is, do they think that he's an upgrade to Jaden Daniels? Jaden Daniels had a tremendous year, Heisman Trophy winner. It just did a fantastic job for LSU all season long. So that's another question that's coming up. They could trade to the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons are looking at not being able to get one of their big guys. They don't have a pick until the 8th pick, I want to say. So I think this, they certainly have the opportunity to make a game-changing move right now, or if nothing else, maybe even move up in the draft. So they've got options. And then are the Pittsburgh Steelers destined to add another Chicago Bears former first-round quarterback? Mitchell Trubisky, by the way, was the starter for a few games so far this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So, maybe we will see something like that kind of play out. So we also have this right here that popped up on the wire. Bears add Saquon Barkley, and this is the title today that we had. The Bears add Saquon Barkley, the Giants get Caleb Williams, and the Raiders trade for a quarterback. This is the latest NFL mock that came up a couple days ago. And what they did is they kind of laid out that the Bears would trade the number 1 overall. They would tag and trade then Saquon Barkley to the Chicago Bears. And then the Bears would get the number 6 overall pick, which would be used at that point perhaps for Malik Neighbors instead of Roma Dunze. So that's kind of the idea there. And then the number 39 overall pick in 24, and then future first round in 25 and a second round in 26. Rumors indicate that the Bears could receive a similar package to what they acquired last draft season. So that puts them in a very good situation. This looks like something that could play out tremendously. This is the kind of move right here that could be. And by the way, Saquon Barkley has been injured a little bit, but he is a tough runner. So, and by the way, the Giants are probably not going to meet his asking price. So, if they do anything, it's going to be a sign and trade deal. So this sits out here as one of those potential big time plays right there. Like this is going to be a potential big move. This allows, of course, the Giants to land Caleb Williams, and then it allows the Commanders to take Drake May. We're still going on. The Patriots still pick up Jaden Daniels, and then Arizona gets Olu Fashanu. Marvin Harrison Jr. ends up going to the Chargers. The Bears with the number 6 get Malik Neighbors. That is, by the way, again, guys, I'm not telling you that I like Malik Neighbors more than I like Marvin Harrison Jr., but I am telling you that these two guys are very, very close. Malik Neighbors is a fantastic receiver out of LSU. Makes all the catches, too. And then number 7, you got J.J. McCarthy going to Minnesota Vikings. And then number 8, Roma Dunze going to Washington. Now we've already got Malik Neighbors, so we're good at least situationally. And by the way, make sure you hit the like button on the way in; helps push me up in the algorithm. Number 9, Chicago Bears, Jerzon Newton. Absolutely not. Now here's the thing: I like I like Jerzon Newton, but I think Gervon Dexter and I think free agency will probably shore up the inside the inside pass rush. So I would not want to move on this. What I would want to do, however, is trade this and go down to the Jets here and pick up Joe Alt, because that would be a fantastic replacement for Braxton Jones. And if you fix the line, imagine just, if you will, Joe Alt at left tackle along with Tevin Jenkins. You've shored up the left side, so the weak side is covered for both of the quarterbacks. I think are right-handed, so you've got that covered. And you've got a strong Joe Alt is a big time player. So you've got your offensive line shored up on your weak side. The strong side, you've got Darnell Wright, who's been a rock so far. And then you're going to have Connor Williams, Alton Jones. You're going to have somebody at center, and probably you're going to have to move on at guard, because I don't think Jones really cutting it anymore. So, there'll be some moves, but I would take Joe Alt at that position and swap this for that if it were up to me, and then look for an edge rusher again in free agency. And then moving down to number 11, Tennessee Titans, Brock Bowers. Now, if you want to convince me, move on from Mercedes Lewis and then bring in Brock Bowers, it would be a little more expensive. So, I don't think you would be using your money incredibly wisely in that context, but it would still be something that you could look at. Could you imagine a 2 tight end set that includes Cole Kmet and Brock Bowers with Saquon Barkley as your running back? I mean, guys, just take a moment and gather your conservative look. Your 2 tight end set looks like Brock Bowers, Cole Kmet, DJ Moore, Malik Neighbors, or Marvin Harrison Jr., or Roma Dunze at that point, and then Saquon Barkley in your backfield. Just imagine what your team looks like in that regard. So, the question simply becomes, do you bring Mercedes Lewis back for a year because he is a great blocker, or do you let him go and bring in another guy? And Brock Bowers, by the way, does it all. He does it all. Here we go. He's an expansive route tree, ability after the catch, and the refinement as a blocker. So then that brings us down to the edge rusher, which of course is Dallas Turner at number 12, going to the Denver Broncos. Maybe you can even make an argument that Dallas Turner, if he's available at this point, you should probably be talking about Dallas Turner, and then the Latu down at 14. So there's some changes in these drafts, by the way, and none of this will really mean much until we go through the scouting combine and kind of really get a testament of where everybody's grading out and where they're scoring out. So these draft picks, a lot of potential for big moves here. So, and then I'm going to get real picky here. We're going to go to players right now before we get into chat, and I'm going to show you guys a couple of things, and it's just because I am part Chicago Bear, part asshole. And I think these things are funny, so I'm going to share them with you. Quarterback the Justin Fields fan club X account says quarterbacks left in the playoffs. Now, I want to remind you before I point this out. There are so many people out here that tell you that that you have to be an elite quarterback to win, or that you have to just be a rookie quarterback to win. That's it. That's the cheat code in the NFL, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, let's go look at what's left here. Lamar Jackson, second highest paid quarterback in the league. Patrick Mahomes, the highest paid quarterback in the league. I want to say these guys should be like 1 and 2, and if they're not, they're in the top 3. So they're in the game. So yeah, you do need to have a good quarterback. By the way, both of these guys are mobile, can make plays with their legs, and Lamar Jackson struggled. And by the way, if you compare year 3 for Lamar Jackson to year 3 for Justin Fields, you see a lot of similarity in the completions. You see a lot of similarities in the number of passes. You see a lot of similarities between these two in year 3. Brock Purdy, very fortunate in his position, a game manager, rookie contract, brought in, and I mean the guy's been performing fantastic. But then you have Jared Goff. Jared Goff replaced by Matthew Stafford, whose team then Los Angeles went and won a Super Bowl right after Jared Goff is gone, and now he is the guy for the Detroit Lions, and he is not a game manager at this point. This guy has been balling out for this year, so you don't have to be what everybody says you have to be to win in the NFL because none of these guys check the boxes. Maybe Jared Goff. You could make an argument that Jared Goff does, but none of these guys check the box for what you think is your NFL quarterback. And then the Bears show says this is they're finalizing a deal this morning to hire Shane Waldron as their next offensive coordinator. And then the Bears show says, I truly don't understand how you would think this is a Justin hire. A scheme that requires getting the ball out quick with timing and rhythm, and he has the number one pick at his disposal for who he likes, whatever helps you sleep. Well, again, this person is just really, they're of the opinion. They don't know. They can't even read the sign because if you read the sign, you would see that no sign points in any direction. A scheme that requires getting the ball out quick with timing. Um, Teach him that. Nobody taught him that. That's now you're just hating on a guy because he wasn't coached properly. And fair enough. I mean, if you want to look, if you want to shit on Justin Fields because he wasn't coached properly, by all means, go ahead. Um, by the same token, you saw that sort of play from from Tyson Bagent. And what did Tyson Bagent do? 5 interceptions. He couldn't make the throws, got intercepted a lot, and we were 2-2, by the way. So you got to take that for what you will. But turn the ball over dramatically after the team he got figured out. He doesn't have a strong arm, can't make all the So whatever helps you sleep, the Bears show. So I don't think that these things are right. Nobody knows what is going to happen here. Nobody has any idea about what is next. So, by the way, don't forget, if you see me around, I'll be wearing this Bear Down with Bleeves hoodie. So now let's get into chat and let's see what you guys are yelling about today. Detroit versus everybody, Goff equals legend. I don't know if that's the case, but man, oh man, you talk about a guy who has endeared himself in a way that very few people have. I mean, you consider Aiden Hutchinson, you consider David Montgomery even. I mean, love David Montgomery as a runner, by the way. He was going to be my choice. I told guys yesterday he was going to be my choice for my favorite Chicago Bears running back, not named Gale Sayers, Walter Payton, or Matt Forte. So, but he's done an outstanding job there. But Jared Goff became what everybody expected him to be. Look at Philly. Poles isn't hiring for Justin. He's hiring for the Bears. That is 100% correct. Look at what Fields did at the Elite Eight camp. He beat Trevor Lawrence. I'll never forget that. And guys, we should not forget some of these things. They actually do matter. You don't know yet what they're going to do. You can make a guess, and all we can do is guess. Don't forget, Seattle Seahawks free agents' weapons might come here, so you might see some of those guys popping up. Please stop this. Fields sucks. No, as a matter of fact, he doesn't. It's fair enough if you don't like the fact that he drops the ball a bit. But other than Lamar Jackson, he's probably the second best runner in the league, and that has to mean something. So I disagree that he sucks, but I think he's been underserved, and I don't think that he's done himself any favors either. But suck, I think that's a stretch. Truly believe we're going in the right direction, but we will see. Oh, we're going to see. Clint Jefferson says Fields will be gone. Lord Crimson says so confident. Poles wouldn't have got the job if he didn't profess his belief in Fields to begin with. They're doing a very good job of not tipping their hand, but they're keeping Justin. And I do think that that's probably going to be the case. And look, 80% of the fan base wants Justin Fields to return. 20% of 20% of the Chicago fans kiss their moms with that mouth. You know what I mean? Like gross. But they don't like Justin Fields. And they come into chats and say things like, he sucks, man, he's no good, he's a bum, and blah, 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 blah. And to be fair, you shouldn't dump on your own player no matter what. And here's the thing about fans: like you only love a guy because he's good. If he sucked, like you might think he does, that's when you start dumping on him, and then you wonder why a player is not loyal to their team. Well, it's because you got fans like that saying raggedy shit like that. So, you know what I mean? That's what happens. Clint, I'm staying open to what happens. I'm in the camp. If we get a good offer for Fields, we trade him. If we get a great offer for, and by the way, this is important because I think Gabriel, I want to say Newberg or Gabriel Greenberg, Gabriel Newberg, somebody for the Denver Broncos who's a real good insider, his name was Gabriel something or other, said that he knows for a fact that there are 5 teams that might have interest in Justin Fields, but none of them are willing to give up a first-round pick for Justin Fields. I don't think that the value is there on Justin Fields anymore. I don't think that the value sits there in a way that would help this team tremendously. That doesn't mean you can't get some help, but it means that his value is a lot less than what people than what players in the league think. The players love him, fans love him. The league not so much. Why do you hang out on Bears panel as a Lions fan? Yeah, it says there's a 60-40 chance Field goes away. That's fair enough. Well, what would you call the 27th ranked quarterback? What I said, I would call him underserved. I don't say that. Look, he's fumbled the ball way too much. He's made some boneheaded plays. He's held on to the ball too much. He's run when he should have passed. I'm not saying that he has done a bang up job. I'm saying that he's been underserved because, and Scrolls, I do want to say this. If you look at the advanced stats on Justin Fields, then you see 121 quarterback rating in the first quarter. You see an 89 quarterback rating in the second quarter. You see a 96 quarterback rating in the third quarter. And then you see a 58 in the fourth quarter. Now, the fourth quarter is one. Look, it's my opinion. As long as you're a coach calling good plays, then you're going to win, right? But we see the product on the field. You know that Luke Getsy was calling the plays. You know that Justin Fields cannot audible out of plays. It's known to everybody. And if that's the case, and he has to run whatever is being called, then who's the play caller? And how much accountability does the play caller have to put Justin Fields in bad positions? So, make what you will of it. And it's fair enough if you can you can look at it and you can say, well, he fails in the fourth quarter. And I would say, I don't disagree, but I think that rating should be more like an 80 or a 90. And if he had a coach who was coaching him up to win his matchups and calling plays to help him and not just to self-serve, I want to say, then we wouldn't see the rating that we saw, and he wouldn't be the 27th ranked quarterback. He'd be a top 15 at least. I won't say that he's a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or even a top 10, but he would be in the top 15, and we'd be having a very different discussion at this point. In fact, if he had a great rating in the fourth quarter, we would actually be saying that he's elite at this point. So you can say that just because he doesn't do good in the fourth quarter, he sucks. Fair enough. But we were ahead in 5 games this year. We lost those 5 games that we were ahead by. But if we had not, that would be a 12-5 team, and this team would be in the playoffs. Green Bay would not be in the playoffs, and who knows what would happen if you had luck on your side. So, luck does have a little bit to do with it, but you also have to be able to close out games, and it's not just upon the players to close out games, especially when the quarterback can't audible out. It's on the coach to call plays that the players can successfully execute. And if the coach is not doing that, then he is doing a disservice to the team. Luke Getsy did a disservice to this team. And by the way, the Scrolls, I'm not saying this to defend Justin Fields. I'm saying this because I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and I recognize that it's a possibility that Justin Fields is going to stay here, and that there is a stronger possibility he's going to be a much better player. So when I say all this, I just want you to know, like, I'm not dumping on him, and I'm not dumping on your opinion that you don't like him. I'm saying there are factors that are involved, and I think those factors should account for something. Would love to come on the show to collaborate if at all possible. Reach out to me. It's my email address for anybody who wants. I'm going to put this in here if you guys just want to reach out to me. It's Bleeves at Bleeves crypto.com. I'll put that in the chat right there. So if you want to reach out to me and come on the show and talk the Bears, then you can certainly reach out to me. Send me a link to your channel, everything like that. We'll certainly hash it out and chop it up about the Bears. Please sign Saquon. I think so. That'd be awesome. That would be awesome. And by the way, when I looked down at this, your name was blurry, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, is Evil Knievel in here? Which would have been awesome. And I don't think anybody even knows who Evil Knievel is anymore. But man, oh man, oh man. Some Bears fans, raggedy ass fans. I don't know about that. Drafting Williams resets championship window and any progress we have made. By the way, that's not entirely true, but it does create a different dichotomy. And I want to say this. I'm going to say this. I said at the beginning of the show, if you missed it, it is my firm belief that Matt Eberflus is on the clock and Ryan Poles is on the clock. Kevin Warren, just the same way that you say, hey, Justin Fields is not their quarterback. They need to go out and get their quarterback. Yeah, no shit. Kevin Warren is putting everybody on the clock. So Ryan Poles, if he doesn't produce a good season next year, is gone. Matt Eberflus, if he doesn't put out a good season next year, he's gone. And Kevin Warren is going to clean house. So they're under pressure. So I think that means that they will stick with Justin Fields. That's just my opinion. That doesn't mean that I think Justin Fields is a better option than Caleb Williams long term, but I do think that he's a better option for this upcoming season 100%. And I think that he only gets better. And for anybody who says, well, he can't because he's going to have to learn a third offense in 3 seasons. People learn new offenses all the time. Stop kidding yourself. Will he be incredible at it? No. Will he be good at it? Yeah, if it's built around him. I mean, it's simple. These things are very, very simple. And matter of fact, Shane Waldron will simplify this offense to create success for Justin Fields, and then he will adapt the offense to get better as Justin Fields improves at how he executes the offense. Thus, Justin Fields is going to look like a star. Tyson Bagent would also look like a star, by the way. I do want to say that. I think people are going to be shocked with the Chicago Bears when they hit the gate, and they're going to hit the gate running this next year. They learned a valuable lesson, and I do want to say that. I think the Chicago Bears, one thing that Matt Eberflus learned is that he did not have this team ready for success. And when you don't have your team ready for success, then you fail. And we lost 4 games that I don't think they were all winnable, but I think that we should have been a lot more competitive. And, if we finish that off 3-1, I mean, there's so many different things that could change by just being ready. It changes the trajectory of this team. So I think we hit the ground running coming into this next year. And then with that being the case, then I think that, we start to look at some real development and confidence. We should have some confidence. Why should we have loyalty to millionaire athletes? Either do the job or move on. Fair enough. I mean, dude, you can be pessimistic about it because, to be fair, they don't owe you anything. Like when people say, oh, I can't believe he's leaving the team when LeBron left Cleveland. Fuck Cleveland. Who cares about Cleveland? LeBron James is LeBron James. Like Cleveland cheered him on. The only reason they cheered him on was because he was great. The only reason, look, you guys cheered on Jim McMahon because you thought he was great. Cheered on Walter Payton because you thought he was great, but you shit on Jay Cutler because you thought Jay Cutler was lazy and didn't come in when he should have during a playoff. Cody Parkey actually had a good season in 2018 until he double doinked. He wasn't actually an inaccurate kicker, but his career was ruined by that, and nobody wanted him, and nobody wanted to be around. And then we didn't like Mitchell Trubisky. And here's the thing: they were all millionaire athletes, and we didn't give a shit about those guys, but we didn't care about them because they didn't perform. So why, when the person performs, should they care about you? It's a two-way street. There's no loyalty, and there shouldn't be any loyalty. But if there is, then you take it for you thank that person for that. George Kittle comes out and says, I'm a Chicago Bears fan, so anytime I can beat like the Green Bay Packers or something, let's go the Bears. So George Kittle, playing for San Francisco, is a Chicago Bears fan. He doesn't owe any allegiance to anybody. He certainly doesn't owe it to San Francisco or anybody. And in fact, if given the opportunity, he might even sign with the Chicago Bears because it would be a dream come true for him as a fan. But I mean, again, he doesn't owe any loyalty. So I'm going to skip through most of this to get down here. You guys have been wilding out. This right here, Kareem Slayton, I think has the idea right though. DJ Moore, Marvin Harrison Jr., Mike Evans, and Mike Evans is going to be out there. So with it doesn't matter who it is, just build around it. That's all we're looking for. Just be ready. And look, by the way, let's close this out with the reminder here. We are all fans of the Chicago Bears. We're not fans of Caleb Williams. We're not fans of Justin Fields. We like when these guys succeed and when they perform. We want to see greatness out of our team. But at the end of this, we are Chicago Bears fan. We cannot like some of these people. We cannot like a personal player. We cannot like who they are, what they do for the community. But at the end of the day, this is about the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears, for many years, I think I want to say somebody pointed it out, and it escapes me right now, but it was a player, and he said the Chicago Bears are living in 1985. The Chicago Bears, the owners, the McCaskies, all they're doing is out here selling merch based on 1985. They're not selling merch based on today, based on the Chicago Bears. They're living in the past, and until we get to the future, we're all going to be a little bit frustrated. But guess what? That's about to change. That is about to change. I'm telling you guys right now, Chicago Bears make the playoffs next year. Will they be a Super Bowl contender? Anybody that makes the playoffs is a Super Bowl contender. Will they win a game? I don't know. A true Bears fan should want to improve at the quarterback position. No, a true Bears fan should support whoever's at the quarterback position. A true general manager or head coach would want to improve the quarterback position. I don't give a shit who the quarterback is. I just care that they do a decent job and get us to where we want to be. It doesn't matter who that person is. And I would rely on those people to get me an upgrade. But guess what? Guess what? Guess what? I want to say chicken butt now just because I said it so many times. But Trent Dilfer, guys, Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Okay. Any quarterback can manage a game and win a Super Bowl. Look, it doesn't matter. So I'm a Chicago Bears fan. So I hope Justin's here. I don't care if Justin's here. If it's Caleb Williams, let's go. If it's Tyson Bagent, let's go. If Justin Fields comes back and in the first game he gets injured and breaks something and we're never going to see him again, and that's going to be the end of the experiment, and Tyson Bagent comes in and he does a decent job, and then out of free agency we get some broken ass dude playing in the UFL or whatever extra football league there might be. If we pull our own Kurt Warner, I don't care. I do not care. Here's what I care about. What I care about is the Chicago Bears being relevant and the Chicago Bears winning some football games and winning the games that are winnable. Again, I say it one more time. We were within 7 points on 5 games and leading 4 of those games. And those games should have been wins. If those were wins, we're still in the playoffs. We might even won the first round or even the second round. You don't know what would have happened because we didn't get there, but we were that close. So when you guys want to say, well, 7-10, but we didn't make the playoffs, kiss my ass. This was a much stronger team at the end of the season than it was at the beginning of the season. It was not ready. So get it ready for the season next year and then start to win some of those games, which you didn't win this year. And guess what? The same team that we have right now is a playoff team that wasn't coached like a playoff team. So if the coaching gets upgraded, all of this stuff gets done, then guess what? We are on our way to the Super Bowl. Maybe. I'm a little pie in the sky with that, but we are on our way to being a much better team. We're on our way to knocking some people down a few pegs. We're going to win the NFC North next year. Kevin Love or Jordan Love, whatever your name is, it's over for you. The domination ends, and it ends now. Anyway, that's my time, guys. And that's exactly right. Look, we would all want to have that scrolls, but you don't know that Caleb Williams is that guy. Nobody knows that. I mean, that's the thing. Everybody knew that Sam Bradford was that guy. He wasn't that guy. Everybody knew that Ryan Leaf was that guy. He wasn't that guy. And these guys graded out just as well as Caleb Williams. And you saw the product on the field, and you knew that he was going to be elite. They just weren't. Some people are just not. You know that you can win games with Justin Fields. You know that because you know that you coached yourself out of 5 wins. So this 7-10 team, again, could have been a 12-5 team, and we'd be looking at a much different outcome at the end of this year. So we are that close, guys. So I'm going to close this out. Thank you so much for tuning in. Consider becoming a member of the channel and stuff like that. We got a $5 bomb over here from Myron Stein Gainsheimer. If we win the Browns game and took the Rams spot in the playoffs, we'd be in the NFC Championship and no one would be talking about Williams. That is exactly what I'm talking about. We are so close, guys. You can go back and you can look at the record. Maybe tomorrow when I get on a rant, we'll talk about that. But I mean, we were so close. We are so close to being a 12-5 team and being in the playoffs and being just a much better team. So, guys, take heart. Chicago Bears are going into the playoffs next year. The Chicago Bears are going to be sniffing a Super Bowl very soon. Can I guarantee that? No, but also, yeah. So get at me, bro. Anyway, guys, bear down, and we'll talk to you again very, very